that, such as FAST-41, would certainly be helpful, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you, Chairman Westerman. I will now recognize Representative Crank for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For too long, the United States effectively ceded dominance in the global critical minerals market to China, an adversary whose market power now directly threatens our national and our economic security. China doesn't just produce these minerals. Of course, they control the pricing, the processing, and the supply chain for the materials that go into everything from our electricity grid to our fighter jets and our missile systems. I'm a member of the House Armed Services Committee. These things are essential to national defense and to our energy security. That level of market control gives Beijing the ability to influence global market prices, choke supply chains, and weaponize access to essential materials. This isn't a theoretical concern. We see it happen, and we see it happen day in and day out. China has restricted access to rare earth minerals, antimony, tellurium, and tungsten. All materials critical to defense, advanced manufacturing, and energy technologies, all of them. Those actions send shockwaves through global markets, and they leave U.S. manufacturers scrambling for alternatives. At the same time, the U.S. has struggled to counter China's dominance because of our own internal constraints, particularly our burdensome and unpredictable permitting process. We are literally our own worst enemy as a government sometimes. To put this in perspective, S&P Global found that developing a new hard rock mine in the United States can take 29 years from discovery to production. 29 years. No wonder minerals projects want to protect their eligibility for FAST-41. And a mine that's able to successfully move through the U.S. permitting regime must also face the reality that China is watching. China has enough market control to flood global markets with minerals or processed materials just as U.S. projects are preparing to come online, driving prices down, and they render those projects uneconomic before they ever even get off the ground or reach full operation. Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent that the following articles be entered into the record. An article from Reuters detailing China dumping cobalt onto the market, preventing the U.S.'s first cobalt mine in decades from coming online. An additional article from Reuters on China flooding the markets with lithium to eliminate rivals. And finally, an article from Benchmark Minerals on China dumping graphite anode into U.S. markets. Our reliance on foreign sources has put us in this position, making us not only vulnerable to supply cutoffs, but to strategic manipulation of market prices designed to keep U.S. companies on the sidelines. Let's be clear, China wants to keep us on the sidelines. That's why as we continue to pursue permitting reform and expand access to FAST-41, we must also evaluate how to protect U.S. companies from a minerals market that is distorted by foreign state-backed actors. Permitting reform alone will not solve the problem in global prices. They can still be manipulated to undercut domestic production before it ever has a chance to succeed. Mr. Johnson, in your testimony, you highlighted the same concerns I have about concentrated control and foreign state-backed actors who can distort prices. How would U.S. acquisition through the Strategic Resilience Reserve, as outlined in the Secure Minerals Act, help reduce price volatility in the global critical mineral market?
One of the biggest challenges with new projects, and again, the Secure Mineral Act is really about midstream, right? It's about processing, it's about driving, throughput and taking the mined, assets and getting them to produce, right? There needs to be consistent offtake, there needs to be buyers on the other side, and there needs to be a market that forms, that's data-driven, that's, informed about the broader geopolitical landscape. So the Secure Mineral Act provides certainty around offtake, around demand, provides pricing transparency to off-takers who end up building the manufacturing around these minerals, which they ultimately are the consumers of the minerals. And they bring them all to the table around a cohesive policy-driven approach.
And then finally, I've just got a couple of seconds here left, but beyond price volatility, how can target acquisition help signal pricing stability to investors and encourage long-term investment in U.S. mining and processing capacity?
One of the challenges, and I believe it was mentioned earlier, is around, visibility of large data information, and then making that available. Right now, we live in a world where bilateral agreements are the only way to do it. And so a big OEM will negotiate with a mining company now, which they've never done in the last 70 years. And so everyone is a fish out of water. And what this will do is it will synchronize those markets to operate effectively and allow private capital to come in intelligently.
Thank you very much. Representative Hageman, you're up for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Compton, I want to thank you for your testimony on my bill.